Okay, so hi guys.
Hi everyone.
This is my best friend that I've been talking to you guys about. Tyra.
My friend and I sat down to record this video, and unfortunately the camera shut off, but luckily I still have the audio, so we're just going to do this podcast style. By the way, my name is Elvon and I am the one on the right. So get comfortable and listen to this authentic conversation between me and my best friend.
Today we're going to be talking about something that has been on my mind for a long time, but I've just been continuing to make my observations and form my opinions on it. And it is this fetishization, I hate that word, of mixed race women in particular, and also just women that look racially ambiguous.
I'm here to represent the racially ambiguous.
Yes.
What bad timing, you idiot.
Today we're going to be talking about something that has been on my mind for a long time, but I've just been continuing to make my observations and form my opinions on it. And it is this fetishization, I hate that word, of mixed race women in particular, and also just women that look racially ambiguous.
I'm here to represent the racially ambiguous.
Yes. So what have your experiences been like as a child? What are some instances or things that you've observed that like told you that there's this hierarchy in color and texture and like features?
I think that one of the most like profound experiences that I had was going to school and not being able to figure out like where to sit and at the lunch table. And I feel like this happens like later. This doesn't happen in elementary school because like in elementary school everyone's friends. Like you don't really care so much about what a person looks like because it starts at home. Like once you start learning about race at home, that's when you start, other kids around your age are learning it too. And then it just, you start learning it in school. I mean, we get taught about slavery. We get taught about subconsciously all of the, superior people in like education who's like done stuff in science and math. All the people we study, 9 times out of 10 are white.
And all the heroes of the presidents.
Right. Everyone that we're supposed to look up to, that we're taught to look up to in school, the people who are geniuses and this, who discovered this, a lot of the times they're European males. And I say European because European American, because Caucasian and white is not technically correct. There's no hyphen of, American attached to it. They have to make themselves, we're Caucasian. But you guys weren't here first,
And with Christopher Columbus, I didn't even realize that he was not really a hero until college.
Yeah.
It's like all the way up until high school.
Talk about that experience. Like, how was that?
I mean, just in the textbooks, it'll be like he discovered, it always painted him, they always had him in a narrative that was like ambitious, self-discovering, like self-made, like just this adventurous person that found where we live today, like as a good thing. It always painted him. It never really detailed.
It only showed one side of history. So let me just say, with the education thing, it teaches self-hate subconsciously. Okay. It's a psychological damage that's done very subtly. It's done subtly, so it's because if you did it blatant right in your face, I mean, you're gonna, people are gonna speak up about it.
I remember there was a white girl in our class, and she dated this black male in our class. Her mother told her that she could not date her boyfriend because he's black.
Right. I remember.
And I mean, we were all less than, we weren't even in 5th grade yet. We were probably still in 3rd grade. And I remember she came to school and was like, my mom said I'm not allowed to date you because you're black. And she like told, because we were her friends, she told us.
Right.
And her mom was the counselor at our school. Like someone that I
Right.
personally
Right.
looked up to.
Right. And you find out that they're racist.
Yeah.
I feel like, I mean, I can't speak for them because, I mean, I'm not them, but I feel like one of the reasons why sometimes that happens is because psychologically, you got to think about, okay, there's psychological, implications that are being taught to, black kids in school, but they're also being taught to white kids too. And what they're getting taught is that we're superior. It's reinforcing. This is why I have a problem with education and why we brought up, school first, because
it's your foundation.
It is your foundation. Your childhood and school is really like the only two things. You go home and you go to school when you're a kid, at least here in, the Western society. So, they're also being taught that they're superior. They're also being taught that subconsciously and maybe even blatantly by their parents that I'm better. And then you have like one group of kids in the class feeling like they're less than. Then you got one group in the class feeling like they're better than. And so I think with the girl's mom in our class, I think that, she's like, we're a pure race. I don't want you mixing that blood. And then that's a good topic to talk about racially ambiguous people, because I feel like we're looked at as dirty. We're looked at, because anything mixed, it's like, okay, you're not pure. You're not. Think about a dog that you want to keep that dog pure, right?
And that reminds me of the 1-drop rule. Like the 1-drop rule was what made you either black or white.
Yeah.
So it's like society said that there needed to be this distinction of what is black and what is white.
Right.
And if you have even a trace of black in you, then you're not white, because in a sense you're not pure. But I feel like thinking about that made me think about how it is like interpreted today, because we don't really bring up the 1-drop rule today, because like your ancestry doesn't really matter in your interactions that you have with people, I would say. Like it's more about how you look like, and not like who was your great ancestor. Your appearances definitely shape your interactions and your opportunities.
True. That's very true. And I think that people like need to recognize that there is a privilege here. And though, like I said, when someone asked me one time in my real life experience, like, oh, are you black? No, he said, are you a sister? He said, you a sister? That's what he said. Yeah. And I mean, when people ask me that question, I know they're trying to get, is she Hispanic? They're trying to figure out if I'm kind of Hispanic, because that inevitably eliminates to them any kind of black that might be in me. Because people see my hair, they see my skin, they're like, okay, she looks white, but then she's not really white because I have
have something in you,
right? And then people are like, what is that? And so people trying to see is there black in there. When he said that, and then I said, am I a sister? He said, are you black? And I said, well, sir, I mean, if you're referring, and like I said, there's no such thing except for the human, there's no such thing as race except for the human race. And that's why I said, if you're referring to my skin color as black, because that's what it is. When you say someone's white, when you say someone's black, you're referring to their skin color. You're not referring to a race like some people like to think about that. But that's not really what it is. So I'm like, if you're referring to my skin, sir, I am not black. I obviously, but
yeah, it's like you're mixed with something, but you're not black.
Right.
We look different.
Right.
And that's okay.
And that
like,
shapes your experience.
It does.
Because I don't have the same, just racism. I'm not going to experience the same racism as you're going to experience just because of my skin. And I have to recognize that privilege.
Yeah.
I do have privileges in this society.
Because you are part white.
Right.
And it's like there's this hierarchy.
Yeah, there is a hierarchy.
And even if you narrow that down to just the black community, there's still this hierarchy of black and something else.
Yeah.
And light skins that are just black, and then dark-skinned black people.
And think about like Cardi B, who didn't want to recognize that she was black.
Until she got a BET award.
Right.
And until she wanted to defend herself saying the N-word. It's like you only want to claim a part of your blackness when it suits
when
you.
When it's and
when
it's beneficial to you.
And even like with Gina Rodriguez, I don't know if you saw this, but she had said the N-word, and quite a few people were talking about it, but she came back and said that she was Afro-Latina and that she was black.
Right.
So now you're Afro-Latina.
Right, but at first you weren't black.
Yeah, and she pointed to her ancestry that was like, she had black somewhere else, but she never identified herself as black until this moment when she wanted to defend herself.
Right.
And that's not fair because someone who looks like me,
Right.
I'm
you don't
black.
get to choose.
Yeah,
right.
I'm not racially ambiguous.
Right,
I'm
right.
black. So
That's the problem with racial. That is the key problem with racially ambiguous people. You cannot just hop the fence like, oh, I'm. And to me, in my growing up experience, I felt like I could never be on any of the fences. I was always in this weird middle gray, and it made me feel really isolated because I felt like, okay, I didn't really fit in over here, and I don't fit in on this side. So it's like, where do I fit in? But people who are racially ambiguous do like to hop sides, like the two people we just explained. I'm black when it's beneficial to me, or I'm black when it's cool now, but when it's not, I'm not.
And I feel like,
you know?
like mixed race has been just the image that has been shouted at us.
Yeah.
If you think about it, like a white woman tanning and then
Yeah.
a black woman bleaching.
Right.
It's like this in between of you
Interesting.
want something that's black, like an aesthetic,
Right.
but not all the way
Right.
black.
Right. But I think that's the self-hatred that we're taught with black. The psychological damage that's been taught with this color system, and because it's been done in other places too. I mean, think about how Hitler, he tried to create this pure race. It's a psychological tactic to destroy communities, to break up people. I mean, it's deep. I mean, there's a reason why. Because think about it, people are talking about this, people know about
Yeah.
it, but it's like,
But we still participate. We're not dismantling the standards.
we do. We still follow the stereotypes that
Yeah.
we've been taught, right? We know it exists,
Like-
but we still like, oh, I don't. We have something to say about another race or whatever.
Even like going back to where we first started talking about elementary school. As we got older, it became like, first it was like, we're black, so this is the role we played in the past, to we're black and you look more white, so like you are more special in some kind of way in the way that you look. And it's been like calling people names because of how dark skinned they are, or like there's women darker than me who have I've seen get made fun of in middle school for being darker.
Right. And I know there was one guy I used to talk to, and he was really, really dark skinned, and he hated his skin. He was like, he would say stuff like, I'm too black for tattoos, and always talk about, oh, you have the perfect skin to get tattoos and everything like that. And he hated how dark. He did not want to go to the beach. He didn't want to be in the outside at all in the sun, and I know it had a lot to do with when he was younger. I mean, someone had to tell you something negative for you to hate yourself like that. Because I know there's things about myself that I hate. My forehead. Like, and I know and I'm like, well, why do I hate my forehead? But it was because in elementary school, there was someone in class that said, oh, you got a big forehead. Or someone that made me feel less than.
Yeah, it's like you don't really notice your insecurities until someone points it out to you.
But they're not insecurities until someone says that they are.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying, like, there's nothing, everything is beautiful about black. I mean, I feel like I'd be really ugly if I didn't have black in me. And I know white girls feel like that too. Like, if I didn't have a little bit of black in me, I would look just like your average ass. Like, that's how I feel in my head. And I'm just like, but the black part of me is what makes me so, and there's white women that are beautiful. I'm not saying that they're not. But, you know, I'm just, that black part of me is what makes me
Because talk
me.
about how you said black women come up to you and say, but then you're like,
oh, okay. So a lot of the times I'll get a lot of black women, maybe mixed women, different types of people that will come up to me, minority communities, and be like, even Hispanic people, and talk about my hair, or, you know, like say that my hair is so, you got good hair. Well, there's this thing called good hair. What's good hair? But, you know, I really want to say to them and try to explain to them that my hair wouldn't look good, and I wouldn't have good hair, curly, if that's what you mean by good hair, if I didn't have any black in me. My hair would be just as straight as the fucking, you know, door over there. Right?
Another thing that I wanted to mention is brands and how they constantly put out this mixed image in their marketing. I feel like a lot of times it's to, like, say that I am woke and I am diverse, but because I have some kind of like ethnic person in my, like, let's say marketing campaign,
Right.
but it's still not black.
Right.
So they try to put that image out there to say I have a black person.
Right. So they try to use racially ambiguous people as a way to represent the black community, but you're not representing black if you don't actually have dark skin, melanin, that good up in your
it's like
advertising.
some people think that acknowledging the difference is like being divisive, but I think acknowledging the difference is
inclusive.
Like
it's not the other way around.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. It's inclusion. It's everyone coming together and saying it don't fucking matter what you look like. It matters the type of person that you are at the end of the day.
Yeah. And there's been a lot of brands who would a lot of natural hair brands too that would constantly put out this image of like 3C or loosely textured hair and say like put this kind of hair type as the face of the natural hair movement, when we know that the natural hair movement is still going on because there's still issues where people go natural but they're not comfortable with their hair texture. They want it to be looser, they want it to be longer,
and they're made uncomfortable in the workplace, like we were talking about. Like, just think about, what was that
Gabrielle Union. She just got called out for changing her hairstyles, rotating her hairstyles too much because they're too black for the America's Got Talent audience. And think about the title of that show, America's Got Talent. There's a clear image of what America wants to look like and who America wants to represent. Because America's Got Talent audience may be mostly white, but there are black people that started watching that show because of her, because they're glad that they see someone represented in America. And it's just like they don't want to let her embrace her culture through her hairstyles. And then at the same time, like in the same week that I found this out, I found out about Bad Baby wearing box braids. And so it's like a black woman getting called out for wearing box braids and criticized, but then a white woman is like, I also wanted to mention like TV shows, because there's, I think in Blackish, one of the main characters is a mixed person. She's mixed with black and Indian, but she is casted as a black female as the main role. And then another one is the actor from Tracy Ellis Ross, who acted in Girlfriends. She casted herself, or they casted her as a black woman, not as a mixed race woman. But it's like they were the main person in the show, and it's like they're only trying to portray one type of black as in a positive way.
And a lot of the issues with what people want to call the industry, but I don't even really like to call it the industry because it's not a fucking industry, but anything in the entertainment, media, modeling, advertisement, all that stuff, it's all about how you look and if someone likes you. It is not about your talent, because that's the problem. That's really the problem, because it's like, okay, we know what we want to show the world, and it doesn't matter how good you are. Like, I can be a dark-skinned person, like, playing, going out for that role that you just said got casted by someone who is a mixed race, and they could have been way better than her, but it wouldn't even have mattered because they already said we don't like your look.
Yeah, and it's not marketable.
Right. And anything like that is that's a subjective thing, because that's someone's opinion. Like, and at the end of the day, what does that really mean? Really, what does that really mean? And so people need to be more, I don't even know. It's like, what can we do about it? But most of those companies, the media, TV shows, movies, they're owned by white people. And it's like they're making the shots. They're calling the shots.
But let me tell you this. Even black filmmakers would purposely portray a dark-skinned woman in a certain kind of way. Like,
and that's on, yes.
And let me tell you, I saw the casting for like a recent movie that just came out, Queen and Slim, which is a movie of a dark-skinned black woman with a black male. When they were looking for someone to cast, they said, we're looking for a dark-skinned woman. They said someone that would play the field, like back then. And like they described her as to be someone that was masculine and more like someone that was kind of hard and like had their walls built up, like not someone who's like particularly vulnerable. So that's what they wanted to portray as a dark skin when they wrote
Like the angry black,
Yeah.
that's the angry black woman stereotype.
It's like, why are
The
we
stereotype.
pushing these
Right,
stereotypes
right.
in our own community?
Right, in our own. See, that's my issue. That's my issue right there. Because even the movie, like, think about the movie Friday. Think about all the things that try to portray what a black life is or black culture and all these things.
It's like that's a part of it, but what about the other side?
Yeah. And I just feel like when people, African American people actively participate in those things, you're just helping to reinforce the stereotype. And I mean, you may be doing it for money, but you got to understand a lot of the people who, and even the people, if you're black owned and you're already portraying the stereotypes, like, you're not helping the community. You're just a black man you're a white man in a black person's skin. That's really what you are, because you're not helping anything for the black
I just
community.
feel like in so many spaces, like, black people, even though we've came a long way, and I don't know if I'm going to put this in here, but
Yeah.
it's just like when I think about it, like places like the NFL,
Yeah.
black people are on the field. Who's at the top?
Yeah.
And it's like,
We need
even
to start
in our
owning
own
it.
spaces, like natural hair products, the first products were not black owned.
Yeah.
For our hair, like, people saw how they can get money in that.
Right. White people. Yeah.
But
Or European American.
yeah, but it's like, even now, they
So
still
why-
get taken over
Right.
by white-owned companies.
Right.
And it's like, they might be the founder, but how long?
See, the thing is education. People in the African American community need to start realizing that it's not about being the rap star or being because guess what? People who's paying them are white. The people who are paying them, people who own the companies, I mean, for the most part, I mean, you see some of the artists did branch off. They got smart and did branch off and, start their own record labels or whatever to make their own money. But at the end of the day, people need to realize that we just need the education to step up and stop, just getting hired by someone, the white person or whatever. And I just think that as a community, in the African community, I don't feel like it's valued. Education is not valued. And that's really the only way. Because, I mean, how did any of those people, whoever they are who own the NFL, be sitting up at the top where they are right now? I mean, yeah, it has a lot to do with the slavery, and it's like they try to do this little reconstruction thing, but reconstruction was a way to reconstruct slavery back into the system without anyone. To me, when I did my history,
I think it is valued, but it's not supported. Like, people get mad at stuff like affirmative action because they don't realize that there are setbacks, that there is a such thing as white privilege that is like embedded into the system. And so we have things like affirmative action, but even they're mad at that because it's like, why are you giving them a chance? Why do they deserve a chance? Like, people are really blinded by their privilege. They don't see that there are inequalities, and I think that's a part of the reason why it keeps happening.
And do you remember when were you in that class with me in elementary school where we did that reading? It was about another country. It was like it was like in a social studies class or something.
Okay.
I don't know if you were in there, but it basically like called us. It was talking about America, and it was a story, but it spelled it differently. It basically went and told this story about what we do, like how we wake up, brush our teeth, and if we don't, we'll go to the dentist and like they'll pull out teeth. But the way they portrayed it made it seem like there was like this foreign country who just did wild stuff. And then when she told the story, like, no, she spelled the name, whatever the name was, it was like America spelled backwards or something. It was really interesting, and it really opened my eyes to the fact that until you change we don't see things as they are. We see things how we are. And so we're always looking at life from a lens. We have a lens in front of our eyes, and however we grew up, our perspectives, our experiences shape what we see. We don't see things as how they really are.
And what we see shapes our perspective.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying there needs to be more representation.
Yeah.
People need to see themselves in all ways, like in all roles, not just in like pushing this one stereotype, even because stereotypes do have some truth to them, but why are you pushing that one image?
Right.
And it all goes back
But there's a reason why.
it all goes back to blackface minstrelsy. Like, before black people were even allowed to play themselves, white people have played them and played them in one kind of way.
Yeah.
And we're
There's a
making our
reason.
own
And then-
content and copying the same stuff. We're in our own communities and mad at each other and like laughing at each other for having darker skin, not praising each other.
Right.
Even our Normani, she's a black girl that was in
I know what you're talking about.
yeah. She had
she's a
to
good
branch
artist.
off and do her own thing. She was the least supported in the group.
Wow. Yeah. And now she's bomb. She's bomb.
Yeah.
She's fucking bad. Girl. She can dance, she can sing. Why? I bet she just start acting next, but that's true.
And it's like,
That's true, man.
so tell me what you think about this. I don't know if you heard this. This is kind of old news, but this Hispanic lady, her name is Sin. She was like, black men cater to Hispanic women.
Yeah.
She was like, especially. And then she
She
like,
said especially.
yeah. And she said she stopped herself and she was like, wait, we don't want to get black women mad. And it was two Hispanic ladies talking to each other. But what was interesting to me, listen, what was interesting to me is Angela Yee, the lady that was like hosting the interview, she said, we don't want to get black women mad, but she's half black and half Hispanic. And she says that, but like in that moment, she kind of acknowledged her privilege without even noticing, because she was able to, yeah. When she was talking about the way black men view her, she separated herself from black women.
Yeah, because she's obviously black and Hispanic, but she's like, oh, we don't want to get black people mad and separated from. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
But it's
deep.
She's not wrong when she said that.
If you're black and something else, you're still not black. Your skin is not black. You are not black.
Because you don't have the same experience. Okay, it's not like there's no experiences that can relate, but at the same time you have to acknowledge.
Yes, you have to acknowledge.
Yeah,
I mean,
your privilege.
You have to acknowledge it, bro. If you don't, then you're just in denial.
But also, let me like something that is like interesting to me about, and you say a lot of people ask you if you're Hispanic a lot. One thing that is interesting to me about Afro-Latinas is that there's so many, just like Afro-Latina is not really a race, it's more of, just like Dominican
like
and
an
Puerto
ethnicity.
Rican, it's more like of a nationality or so it's like, even there's mixed race people in all of these different
But let's not forget, there's black people who are Cuban.
Exactly.
There are black people that you might say, hey, brother, and that nigga start speaking Spanish to us. So, I mean, that's why we need to get rid of this race shit. There's a human
and
race.
Afro-Latina is like a to me, it's a black woman who is from a Hispanic country or something. But some people, like, even the face of the Latina community is light-skinned. And, like, you get more Jennifer Lopez or something.
You do. Yeah. And that's just a problem we have with our society. People need to start... People just... I don't even know. It's like, how do we unravel all the damage that's been sewed in?
I want to talk about these rappers because there has been too many...
Deaths?
That too.
Too many what?
That has, like... put down black women in the same sentence that they're lifting up lighter skin or mixed or non-black women. And I have no problem with like acknowledging the beauty in other races, because these Hispanic women are beautiful. These, like, every woman is beautiful.
There's
to
beauty
me.
in all.
But why do these rappers like Kodak Black, Lil Wayne, so many
you don't have to put down the black woman.
Like you can have your preference, which I actually have a problem with that too, because your preference is different from your fetish. Okay, let's get that straight, because you are not just saying I'm dating this person because I think she's cute. You're saying I exclusively date this race. I'm only looking at this race. So that means you have these these ideas about what every girl in that race is going to be like and what every black girl is going to be like.
I mean, if you're already going to set a preference and set any kind of standard like that, you're already looking just at the physical.
Exactly.
And you're already fucked up anyways.
Yeah, and the stereotypes.
It goes way deeper than... When it comes to your lifelong partner and person you're supposed to be with,
it's not going to be about having cute mixed babies.
Yeah.
Like,
it's not how somebody looks at the end of the day. Like,
yeah.
I want to talk about Lil Wayne. That's why I can't support, and why I feel like no woman should support any... Because this is, we are talking about black, this is a black issue, but this is also a woman's issue too, because we're in a white male world right now. And so I just feel like, how can I support any black man that says, beautiful black woman, I bet that bitch look better red?
And has a dark-skinned daughter.
First, calls you a bitch, and then says, yeah, you're a beautiful black woman, but you would look better if you weren't black. Why you don't even need to call me beautiful? Like, how do you really feel about your mom's a black woman?
It's just in you. It shows you how it's different when a man is dark skinned and when a woman is dark skinned.
And he does though. He's inadvertently saying, I hate myself. Cause how can you talk about? How can you? I just don't. How can
It's self-hate.
It is.
But at the same time, I feel like the image being pushed is like this dark-skinned man.
Oh, I see what you're saying, with the white.
And that's like attractive.
Oh,
and
I see
what's
what
wanted and stuff. But then it's like a lighter-skinned woman or mixed-race woman is what's like.
Yeah. So what does that leave the black woman? And that's why I say the black woman is, which she's the highest. See, that's why everything's been flipped around. Because in reality, not in this reality, but in a universal reality, the black woman is God. The black woman is the giver of life. The black woman was the first woman here on the planet. But why is that in this Western society it's been flipped and is on the bottom? The black woman is at the bottom of the totem. And if you want to go to Doja Cat talking about the bottom bitch in this reality has been the black woman. She's been put on the bottom. And she self-perpetuates, because I do it too. But she, I'm not black, but... I see the self-perpetuation that when we date ain't shit niggas, when we do whatever we do to help just make it more of a reality. Like, but that's where black women have been placed, at the bottom. And we gotta wake up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One last thing I want to say, because I gotta pick up Ava. But what hurt me recently is seeing a video of, actually several videos of white women wearing box braids and then explaining why it's okay for them to wear it. Instead of saying, how do you feel about this? Or maybe you shouldn't be wearing it anyways to even ask that question. But instead of acknowledging how people feel about it, they took what they wanted to hear and they ran with it. And they said, your opinions don't matter, because you're showing your privilege by saying, I can take your shit and wear it and profit off of it while you get kicked off of TV shows, not even shown anywhere. But I can wear your shit. Yeah. And even if you're complaining in my comments talking about it, I don't give a fuck, because I'm white. Yeah. Basically, it's not like saying that like outright, but that's what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow, that's deep.